You're watching a special edition of the Cultural Connections podcast, the Georgia Senate Runoff 2020 election special. Coming up, we'll have the latest information on this historic election. This is the Cultural Connections podcast, Georgia Senate Runoff Special Edition.
Well, perhaps Senator Perdue would have been able to respond properly to the COVID-19 pandemic.
But the most insidious thing that Chuck Schumer and Joe Biden are trying to perpetrate...
Are you ready to show America that Georgia's a red state?
And so vote Georgia like your life depends on it.
And good morning, everybody. My name is Brian Ives, and I am the producer and host of the Cultural Connections podcast. You are watching a special edition of the Cultural Connections podcast, the Georgia Senate runoff election update. We are coming on here live to bring you up-to-date information on the Georgia Senate runoff election. As a reminder, we are coming on here live on multiple platforms. We are live currently on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. For those of you that would like to be part of our live and would like to comment, please do so via Instagram. As you can see here, I am holding my phone in my hand. That is not to be any intentional, but we are recording. This is to get the live feed out onto Instagram, which is why I am holding my phone here in my hand. So to give you the that way our Instagram users can see what's going on too. So if you would like to comment live, go over to Instagram, as I will see those comments as most often and the fastest way possible, since we are coming otherwise live to you on the computer via Zoom, and I unfortunately will not have access to your comments that are I will not have access to your comments that are coming through at this time on Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube. I will try to see if I can check that throughout the day. Throughout this live, but I can't guarantee that. So let's get into the details of what we know as of right now. I'm going to pull up my graphics so we can... Sorry about that. I just muted myself there for a second. I'm going to pull up my graphics so we can go through everything here. And I will get that for you in just a minute, so bear with me for a minute. You're seeing me prepare for this on the screen right now if you are on Instagram, but now our users that are on the other platforms will be able to see this too. Okay, so again, our Georgia Senate runoff coverage starts right now. We're looking at two different Senate races here. The first Senate race here is with David Perdue, the incumbent Republican, facing off against Jon Ossoff, the Democrat. And the second race is the other Senate race we're watching very closely, which we are able to make the projection on, and I'll get to that in just a minute, is with incumbent Republican Kelly Loeffler running against Democrat Raphael Warnock. At this time, we are able to make a projection, and that projection is that Raphael Warnock has won the Senate seat in Georgia. Again, the Democrat beating the incumbent Republican Kelly Loeffler. We can project that Raphael Warnock has won the first of two Senate seats in Georgia. This puts the Democrats one step closer to the Senate majority. And right now, what we are being able to tell, and I will show you these information in just a moment, is that the Democrat Jon Ossoff is also leading right now in the election right now in the other Senate seat. And we can predict, we cannot project, but we can predict. We do have strong belief that Jon Ossoff will win. There has been some reports already indicated with the projections out there that Jon Ossoff has won his Senate seat as well, making Jon Ossoff the youngest member of the U.S. Senate, along with giving the Democrats the majority in the Senate. Now, I'm going to switch the camera here on Instagram back to me, and I'm going to stop sharing for just a moment so I can bring you into some other details that we are looking at. And I want to show you these live Georgia Senate results on what we are looking at. We have two different sources that I am using, and I want to bring those into you live right now. Bear with me for just a moment, and I'm going to start off with one platform here, which is 270towin.com. They do real-time results. And that's currently what you're seeing up on your screen right now here. And they themselves have also made an independent projection with 99% of the vote in that Jon Ossoff can be declared the winner in the Georgia U.S. Senate race there for the first Senate race. So Jon Ossoff currently with 2,211,603 votes to David Perdue's 2,194,578 votes. Again, we'll do the math there in just a minute. And then coming here down, moving down, you see here the other race with Raphael Warnock, which again is projected by all of the major media outlets. Raphael Warnock is projected to win the Senate race, that Senate seat in Georgia, one of two. Again, putting those Democrats one step closer. Now, again, we know there are around 5 million votes that were casted. So we're at 99, roughly about 5 million is what's estimated. And we do know, we have an understanding that the remaining votes that are left out are Democratic votes, we're being told. Now we're going to do some math here to show you exactly what the numbers indicate the difference between here. I apologize if this is sideways to our Instagram users, and I'm not going to do that but I'm trying to get my phone to be cooperative here and just stand. Let's see if it'll do this. Come on. Okay, we're going to try this again. Okay, so, well, this is not. All right, we're going to do this like this then. Oops, sorry. Sorry about that. We're going to hopefully get this. Stop it. Come on, you annoying. Okay, unfortunately, it's not where I want it to be, but we're going to do the math now here anyhow on exactly what the numbers show us between these two guys here on what the number stands. So give me just a minute and I'll do the math for you. 2,211,603 minus. Okay, so for our users on Instagram, I apologize. Actually, you're not. I'm sorry. For our users that are on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, if you can see that, I know it might be a little difficult to read, but the vote tabulation that I have is in between the separation of votes between Jon Ossoff and David Perdue. And let me switch this back to me for just a moment, is 17,025 votes. So I think once we really get above 20,000, I think we can say it'll be safe to call this election. Now, I do want to show you another source here, and that's through NBC News. I believe NBC News is another very good source, and I do use them. I am using them in this case here. So I'm going to show you again here. And from what I'm seeing is that there's a remaining 93,000 votes. So if we see that Jon Ossoff goes up by above 20,000 votes, with the continuation of the vote count, we can say that it'll be safe enough to say that Jon Ossoff is likely the winner in the Georgia Senate, or this Georgia Senate race. Again, even though it is still a little too close to call, we'll be able to, I think, closely say that it is safe to say. So I think in our own predictions here, we can say that safely. And again, looking at these counties individually, you can see the Democratic counties where Jon Ossoff really outperformed and actually took a lot of the numbers away from, like, Clayton County, which is heavily Democrat. She's calling me. Again, as we can continue to tell you here that we are and I'm sorry that just happened. And now my computer does not. As you can see here, Why isn't my sharing wanting to work? Resume. All right, we're gonna stop. We're gonna. Okay, we're gonna stop that for a second. Hold on just a moment. I can re-get the sharing back up here. Here we go. Okay. Now we have it back up here live on screen. And this is the wrong one again. Oh my goodness. Sorry. Where'd it go? Okay, here we go. Now we're back on where we want it to be. So again, here you can see these strong Democratic threshold counties where where you can see the numbers continue to show the Democrat where John Ossoff. This is specifically the race of John Ossoff and David Perdue. And you can see here very clearly in these counties, in these Democratic counties, like I just was saying, Chatham County, Clark County, Clay County. These are areas where the Democrats won very big, and some of these are big counties, which led to the Democrats winning. Even in Cobb County, where where John Ossoff took 55% of the vote, roughly about right now with 95% of the vote in, that's 195,600 votes to David Perdue's 155 245. So it's still close, but that's almost a 10-point lead right there. Looking at some of these other counties here right now, it's a similar story as we go down the lines. And I think that's as I go down the list here and just show you. Really, we see all the numbers in. I think it's pretty clear where we're looking and seeing how this race is headed. Again, we're just waiting on some more outstanding ballots to be counted. But what we can say is we are pretty certain that those ballots are Democratic ballots, and that's the important thing to keep in mind here. Again, looking at these counties where the Democrats won, they didn't just win them, they won them with a good sized margin, which is what they needed to do in order to win this election. Stand by for 1 second. I'm going to keep going with this coverage. If you're on Instagram, you'll have to bear with me. If you're on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook, you'll have to bear with me for just a minute. All right, sorry about that, folks. I'm going to get us back here live on Instagram. Sorry about the glitch there that we had. Let's go back here live on Instagram. So to our Instagram users, this is a update on the Georgia Senate race here. Runoff race. I apologize for the glitch that we had, for the technical glitch that we had there of unexpectedly ending that live video. We're back here again. We're talking about the update on the Georgia Senate election, runoff election. And again, for those that are just tuning in, from what we can tell you, we can project that Raphael Warnock has won one. The Democrat Raphael Warnock beating incumbent Kelly Loeffler in one of those two Senate races. The other Senate race is still somewhat too close to call, but presently the Democrat Jon Ossoff is leading in that race. And we do have strong reason with the remaining votes left that race most likely will lean in the direction of Jon Ossoff if we continue to see the votes coming in the way that they are. So again, and I'm looking here at these counties, and that's what we were just talking about here. Warren County, Washington County, and these are all counties where the Democrats are pulling ahead. And in Washington County, very close, but the Jon Ossoff has pulled ahead with now 4,366 votes to 4,156 votes. So let's just do the math there quickly. And I need to see that again. 4,366 minus 4,156. Okay, so 0, 1, 2. So that's a total of just 210 votes that are separating the two of them. That's still significant. That's still a significant number, even though that is extremely close here. As you can see here, if you're looking at my Instagram scribbles here, that's extremely close for Washington County. Looking over here at the other county here, Warren County, which has 1,386 votes for the Democrat to 1,079 for the Republican. Again, it just gives you the idea of where things stand. And that's what's so important, that we look at this. If I look at some of these Republican threshold counties, which obviously there's a lot more of, a lot of these Republican counties are smaller counties that's why it's majority Republican on a lot of the map here, but they're smaller. They don't add up the bigger numbers here in Georgia, in the state of Georgia. So that's a big part to it. So again, this is something we're going to really closely have to keep our eyes on. Closely have to see what continues to happen throughout the next few hours. It's obviously today as well. The other big headline of the day is we'll be watching at 1 o'clock Eastern time. The certification of result of the presidential election takes place in with the House and Senate, and we are expecting some interesting chaos from that today. So we'll be watching that closely as well. But again, if we're to make a prediction right now, we do predict that Jon Ossoff will likely be taking the other Senate seat in Georgia, beating the incumbent Republican David Perdue. If that does still indeed take place, it would give the Democrats the majority in the Senate, making Chuck Schumer the Senate Majority Leader and Mitch McConnell the Minority Leader. So we're going to continue to monitor all of these results here on Facebook, Twitter. We're going to be live again here, coming live to you again soon on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. Again, as a reminder, though, this is not a normal episode of our podcast. So this live that you are seeing will not end up on our other streaming platforms and our listening platforms. We do not upload the political updates to those listening platform sites because they are specials, to be exact. So stay with Cultural Connections. We're going to continue to monitor all of the latest information on this historic election. For now, this has been a Cultural Connections Georgia Senate runoff election update. My name is Brian Ives, and I am the producer and host of the Cultural Connections podcast. Continue to stay with Cultural Connections for continuing coverage.
Connections podcast, Georgia Senate runoff election special. You've been watching the Cultural Connections podcast, Georgia Senate runoff election special. For continuing coverage, stay with Cultural Connections for the most up-to-date information on this historic election.
Well, perhaps Senator Perdue would have been able to respond properly to the COVID-19 pandemic.
But the most insidious thing that Chuck Schumer and Joe Biden are trying to perpetrate.
Are you ready to show America that Georgia's a red state?
And so vote Georgia like your life depends on it.